Hello and welcome to the shared responsibility model. Now, when you're evaluating public cloud services, you need to understand the shared responsibility model and which security tasks are handled by the cloud provider versus those tasks that are handled by you. The workload responsibilities are going to vary depending on whether the workload is hosted in a software as a service platform, on platform as a service, or in infrastructure as a service. If things are hosted in an on-prem data center, that's going to affect the responsibilities as well. If you look at the graphic on your screen, you can see that in an on-prem data center, the customer owns essentially everything. It owns the whole stack. Now, as you move to the cloud, some of those responsibilities will transfer to the cloud provider, in this case, Microsoft, since we're talking about Azure. Notice the areas of responsibility that get split between the customer and Microsoft based on the type of deployment. Now, it's important to note that for all cloud deployment types, you're going to own the data and identities. You're responsible for protecting the security of your accounts and your identities and your data. You're also going to be responsible for any on-prem resources and the cloud components that you control. Now, this will vary by which model you're deploying. Now, regardless of the type of deployment, certain responsibilities will always be retained by you. And as I just mentioned, that's going to include data. It's going to include accounts. Now, it's also going to include endpoints or devices and access management. So the key takeaway here is that you need to remember that on-prem data centers are going to require the customer to maintain everything. Infrastructure as a service is going to require the customer to maintain most stuff. But in the platform as a service model, the customer and cloud provider are going to essentially split those responsibilities. And then in the software as a service model, or SaaS, aside from the data, devices, and identities, the cloud provider is going to manage everything.